back end of the farm, but we can go in the ways where I'll show you where our son Conrad. Did he introduce himself as Conrad, or did you find out his name?
Oh, yeah, I did.
We'll show you. He owns 10 acres of land on the south end of the farm, and I'll show that to you.
Oh, yeah, he has a cabin there.
Yes.
Yep, he kind of told us about it.
We met your granddaughter.
Yes.
When you took him home.
Yeah.
She's cute, isn't she?
Oh,
She is cute as can be.
Yeah, she is.
How many grandchildren do you have?
11. They're a lot of fun.
How many kids?
Conrad's our third son out of 4 sons, 2 daughters, and 5 of our 6 children are married. 5 or 6 children are married. So we are enjoying life, and we try to look at every day as a gift.
Right.
Because, we only have so many.
That's right.
Everybody's allotted. There's a certain number. And that's not what's so important. It's what's important how we use them.
Clip, clop, clip, clop.
Yes,
I love that sound.
it is. It's a nice sound.
When we come to this part of the country, it's we know we're here. Clip, clop, clip, clop. So what else do you do, Dave?
We are
David?
milking. We have milking cows. We're a dairy. This is our winter feed right here, stored in this white plastic baleage. This is in the old days, girls. I don't know what you know about agriculture, but we had to dry our hay, put it in small bales, stack it in the barn. Now we have technology. We have brown balers where we can pull them with horses, put them in. We have a machine that'll wrap them for us, and we can store it outside. And the huge advantage, ladies, is we only need 1 sunny day to do that. In the old days, you needed 3 or 4 sunny days to dry it down dry enough. Now you can put it in the tubes like that, and it's still wet, like maybe 50% water.
Okay.
A lot of water wrapped in those tubes. But it's nice.
It doesn't get moldy?
Not if the tubes are tight. If there's no holes in there, it'll ferment, but it won't rot. It won't get moldy. But horses, it's not horse feed, girls. If you feed your horses that wet baleage, it can kill them. There's something about the constitution of their stomach. Now I'm curious, ladies. Do you hear an accent in my English?
Yes.
You know why? That's not my first language.
Dutch.
Yes, exactly. It's not my first language. I did not speak English until I was 6 years old. I had to learn English. So English is for me. I have to work to speak English.
Yes.
Because I translated from the German, from the Dutch to English. So I have to think.
My parents were one German and one Swiss.
Did they speak
my
German?
grandfather
Did he know?
My father did.
Did he really?
Yes, he spoke German. A little bit.
Okay, that's
a little bit. He
interesting.
would speak to his my grandfather in German.
I every now and then I'll meet somebody who speaks German, and I always enjoy that, polishing up on my German.
Yeah, well,
I speak the real German.
Yeah.
I speak the Low German in my mother tongue, and I speak it with my family or friends or the Amish. Then I speak High German. We read out of the Bible, Luther's translation, and what real German people speak in Germany. But I can speak with them if I go slow or they go slow. I understand them. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And it's different.
it is different. It's different. Then again, there's a lot of similarities, but there's still a lot of differences too. I like to stop at this homestead, and I like to point out a few things about how we value community and family. And I'll tell you a little story about this home right here. We don't have radio, internet, TV, cell phones, but we do have line phones in the houses. We have phones in the houses.
Oh, you do?
Yes, our church has permitted those in the early 90s. It got to the point where we used to have phones outside, and it got to the point where we'd have to bother neighbors or have a phone on the outside building or something like that.
Right.
And we looked at, if we make a change in our standards, girls, in our church standards, we always look at what does it do to the family. So we permitted 1 phone per house, nothing upstairs, 1 phone so you can control it with the children. If we make a change in our standards, it has to be unanimous. The whole church has to agree to it. 1 person can stop it.
So does the bishop, though, have the final word?
Yes, he does, but he'll counsel with the ministers and the church. The bishop is not what some people think. He sits on a chair and cracks a whip. That's not the case at all. There might have been some like that already, but for the most part, they're human, and they try they try to work with their church,
Right.
and we come to a consensus. And we don't live like this because we have to. We choose to live like this. We can choose to leave. Some people do. But in October 10, 2017, our telephone rang at 1 o'clock in the morning. If it rings at 1 a.m., there's something unusual.
Something wrong.
Yeah, but it's a neighbor down the road, about a half a mile, and he called and he said, David, do you know where your cows are? I said, well, I knew where they were. And he said, well, there's cows in our lawn and on our patio, and that's not a good situation.
Not a good thing.
So I got on a tractor and ran half a mile down the road. I saw right away they weren't ours. Well, anyway, I knew whose they were. I could tell that. I looked at them. And so I woke that family up, Amish friends, and the boys went with me, and we put them back in. When I got back around 4 o'clock, my wife said that Mr. Troyer here, young Mr. Troyer, had called, and Grandpa, living in the small house here, had passed away that night. And would we let the neighbors know? The reason I relate this little incident to you is it helps you understand who we are. So my wife called the neighbors that morning, left messages on those that had voicemails and those that didn't answer, and told them what happened. And I had plans to go to a huge horse sale that day in Mount Hope, Ohio, 20 miles northwest of here. I canceled those plans, and our youngest son, my wife and I, we came up here around 8 o'clock, and we just cleaned up the place. The neighbors were coming, and the church people showed up. We cleaned up the place, and all the family did was dress in their good social clothes. Next 2 days, the meals were brought in, and they just prepared for the viewing, for 2 days of viewing, and then the funeral. The funerals, weddings, church services are all held at the premises if the buildings can accommodate it. Like if they wouldn't have had a big enough building, they put a tent between the two buildings on the left, between the shop and the barn, and so they could hold the overflow. It wasn't cold. It wasn't cold right then. Then the funeral. I tell you this story just to show to you how we value community. I canceled my horse sale plans. Men showed up, didn't go to work that day. They might have lost 2 days of paychecks just to show their support that day.
How many parishioners actually do you have in your community?
we have around 70 baptized members. Then we have all the children. So we have 120, 130 people coming to our services. And what was your name again?
Ginny.
Or Virginia. Do you remember?
Is it Jenny? Jenny? Virginia. Okay, I think I remember
You
that.
call me Virginia.
Marina, Ginny. We have our own local congregation of so many families, and then if it gets too big, we divide and make two. But what I want to say is I have relatives, my wife and relatives lives in other districts, and we will go back and forth. When church is held at our house, some of my relatives will come, my wife's relatives might come, and we go to their house. So we have visitors. This year has been unusual in many, many ways, and one of the unusual things about it is we've had almost no visitors in our church services because of the COVID.
Yes.
We even had our services canceled in the spring there for a while, and I think I'm speaking for all of us if I say that we've had to change our opinion about this COVID a few times, and we're still not sure what's true.
Absolutely. We don't either.
Yeah. We don't deny that there is something like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're on Conrad's land right now. There it starts.
Okay.
This is pasture. This pasture field. And we have a pond up here. This line fence is right here where the trees are.
All right.
He bought 10 acres here some years ago. So how did you find Conrad? Did you just happen to chance upon him?
We were over by that railroad museum. And
you weren't in there by the mistake.
No,
I don't think you
we weren't aware of that there was one. So we were admiring it and taking pictures like, oh, when is it open and when can we tour it? And then I saw this young fella pull over with a tractor. And he was under the tractor, he was looking, and we were parked in that driveway there.
Yes.
And then when we started to pull out, I said, Beth, look on your window and ask him if he needs a hand with something.
Yeah, it looked like he was having trouble.
Yeah, and I said, hey, will a roll of duct tape fix it? I got duct tape. And he said, no. He said, I don't know where the leak is. He was losing diesel fuel.
I see.
In his tractor. So he had taken the cart off and backed it up in that driveway a little bit. And then I said, well, get in the car, we can take you home. Oh, that's okay, I smell a diesel fuel. I said, it's all right, come on and get in the car. And he did.
Well,
so
good. Well,
then
thank you.
He insisted a couple times no, but anyway, we took him home. We had a wonderful conversation with him.
This is his pond.
So pretty.
His pond and his 10 acres. It goes on up the hill and levels off a little ways yet. But he was fortunate enough to buy this some years ago. We cleaned it up and we rented out. Every weekend in the summer there's people here.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
even during weekday nights sometimes there's people here.
Okay.
So the cabin has a bathroom, stove, refrigerator, a bed, a cot, some couches, chairs maybe. There's a bedroom downstairs. Families will come here and the old people, the parents and the grandparents will sleep in the cabin. The children might put up tents and whatever.
How cool.
And there's a, if we go on back, we won't do that today because it's too muddy and we have the ladies waiting on us. But there's a softball diamond, baseball diamond back there. The young folks come here maybe 40, 50, 60, Labor Day, 4th of July, Memorial Day, they'll play softball. Then they'll come down here and eat supper on the patio, and then they'll play volleyball. Volleyball's a big thing with the Amish youth. They really like volleyball. There's a volleyball court. They can put up 2 nets.
Oh, I see there. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Conrad has he has an English renter that's going to move into here for the winter, so the church permitted him to put in electric. If he would move here by himself, if he would live here by himself, he'd have to change that. We don't have electric on the grid,
right.
So, but we do permit it for rental properties and things.
Well, that's
like
one thing I've noticed is how much solar you guys are
yes.
using. A lot of
15,
solar.
20 years. The last 15, it's just exploded. We have a few companies in the area that's their business, install solar for people. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I really couldn't believe how much.
Okay. Tosh, you ready to
every
move?
place. Tosh!
Get you turned around here again.
Oh, we're doing a Yui.
Come on. Here. Come on.
Poor Todd, you're carrying us
Pretty good pool
big
right here.
ladies around here.
He's probably ready to see you go back home.
Yeah.
No, he's okay. Yeah, that wasn't a hard.
Sorry, Tosh. I don't mean that.
Wasn't too hard work for him today. Didn't go very far.
So where's your brake on this thing?
Right here on my right foot.
Whoa!
You hear it?
Yeah.
Initially it'll squeak a little
On
bit,
your right foot,
and then
okay.
when if you look at the cluster building over Catty Corner,
Yes.
you see those children out back, way out back.
Yes.
That's a private school. Our son-in-law is actually the head teacher there.
Ah.
They're having recess right now. Their noon recess the way it looks. Maybe they're playing softball. I expected they couldn't because it's too wet. But
We passed a couple of schools that
yes,
what they
you'll
were
see.
playing was softball.
What's school hours?
8:30 to 3 is what
Okay.
is this particular school. It might vary a little bit one way or the other. Some schools start at 8 and let out at 2:30 or whatever. And some schools might have half a day Fridays. You know, it varies.
Okay. What's those white things hanging up?
Birdhouses.
Yes,
yeah.
birdhouses, right. They're gourds,
Right.
and they have drilled holes in they're hollow. They're hollow, and bluebirds or whatever use them.
Okay.
Well, this is a treat.
Yes, I hope.
I've always wanted to go on a horse and buggy ride. You know, we have Mackinac Island. You've heard of that?
Oh, yes.
And that's all horse.
Yes,
There's
you
no
know,
cars allowed.
Some of our people have taken tours,
Oh, yeah.
coach tours, and they go to Mackinac Island. My brother
Yes.
did,
Yeah.
and other people that we know. And there's no cars, no
No
vehicles on Mackinac
cars.
Island.
No.
But that's a long ways from your place, right? It's way north, right?
It's about 5 hours or
Isn't that far?
Well, yeah, it's almost 5
hours?
hours to the Straits where you have to go
Okay,
to
but,
catch the
If
ferry.
you live in Michigan, you know what winter is, do you?
Oh,
yes.
But I know what it is living here.
I was going to say, you get winter here.
We
have the
do
same winter as
Heavy
we do.
winter.
About the same, I imagine. But if you go to Mackinac Island, you'd have.
Theirs is really cold.
I've been snowmobiling actually up there.
You have.
Yeah, and
Ooh,
they
we have a little wind.
have an ice bridge, you know, because they don't have any service over there. So we trailered our sleds. We have a place in Grayling, Michigan,
I see.
And matter of fact, Aiden Miller built me a beautiful table and beach chairs, and I took it up there. Anyway, so we trailered our snowmobiles up to Mackinac City.
I see.
And then they put them on a big trailer and take them over the bridge.
Uh-huh.
And then on the other side, they let you off. And then we went to the ice bridge, which is not safe every year.
You call it ice bridge. Literally, you cross the...
Cross the water.
Okay, and you
And
can...
the straits in there,
They let you do that, huh?
they have like an 8-mile-per-hour current in there. And, oh, you'd appreciate this story. Here, I got one for you.
Okay, I'm listening.
All right, so we get over there, and it was scary because, I mean, I'm not comfortable going over water.
I would not do that.
Yeah, a lot of people would say, no way, Jose. But anyway, my friend actually had a house over there. They have to do a 99-year lease because you can't own property on it.
I see.
So anyway, she told us this story. In the fall, they take most of the horses back to the mainland and take them, into a farm and keep them all winter. But they leave a few there because they still need supplies.
Yes.
And and they have enough hay and everything to feed them. Well, it was getting late in the season, and the ice was pretty frozen. And they decided that they were going to go over to St. Ignace to get a load of hay.
Okay.
So they had 2 big trailers with a team horse,
Yes.
horse team, whatever you call it.
A team.
A team.
Team is 2.
Okay, 2. Anyway, and they went over there with the horses, picked up the hay, and they were on the way back, and the driver of the first team, turned around to say something to the other guy behind them, who was gone. Went through the ice, the horses, the trailer, everything. The driver never to be found because there's a current underneath there.
The horse
8
and
miles per hour, gone.
Oh.
Everything. So after that, they never ever, even if they said it
When
was...
did that happen? Do you have
I don't know how many
ago?
years ago, but my friend who became the mayor, actually,
Mackinac?
or not the mayor, excuse me, she was the head of the tourism and the city council or something like that.
Now just
Anyway.
stay sitting, till I get him tied up,
Okay.
and we're going to get you back off, Maureen.